Just in case you haven't met me before, my name is Simon Ruth DeVoyle. I am an interfaith, interspiritual minister, and I happen to be the music director at a Unity church up in Port Townsend for about 6 years. And when I was there, I befriended this really amazing congregation. And you all were the first people that asked me to come and not just sing, but also to lead the Burning Bowl and then other sermons. And I owe my career as a minister to you all wonderful, wonderful people. Delighted to be here today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how COVID has changed us. But I'm going to start, first of all, with this image that I think sums it up. That's pretty much, it's been a time. It's been an incredible time. And it's been a while since I first shared that image of the wee boy singing with his guitar, and a lot of wisdom has begun to unfold. So I'm going to start with a song sung by the Bengsons, and I'll place the link to the video in the chat, and then we'll go into meditation. But this is a voice speaking of our shared situation in 2021.
Hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. The part of you that is not alright, is also the part that loves the light. And the part of you that is suffering is the part that calls in change. And you don't have to feel ashamed. There is nothing to forgive. The part of you that is crying out is the part that wants to live. Yeah, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. When your world is burning down, well, getting hot is a sane reaction, but one in need of action, because your spirit needs protection. So gather up your sinew and gather up your faction. Hope is not a feeling, hope is an action. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes from the place where the hurt comes. I said, hope comes. We are not all right. I said, hope comes. We are not all right. I'm gonna fall down on my knees.
That's not living.
I'm gonna say, will you help me please?
That's not living.
I'm gonna say I'm not all right.
That's not living.
I'm just trying to make it through this night. Yeah.
That's not living.
I'm gonna fall down on my knees. Yeah. Oh, will we say, help me please? Help me please. We can say, hey, we are not all right. We are not all right. We can help each other get through the night. Because hope comes from the center of the hurt, in the middle of the dirt. We'll plant a seed and watch it grow into something we don't already know.
Abigail sings, the part of you that is not all right is also the part that loves the light. The part of you that is suffering is the part that calls in change. So let's call in some of that change in our meditation time together now. I'd like to start the meditation with my song, which is a call and response. Be still and know that I am God. Or sometimes I'll sing love or peace. So I sing a line and then you sing it back, and because you're at home and you're muted, you don't have to worry about singing it the same way that I sing it. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. And because this is a meditation, I don't want you to have to think about it, so I'm going to repeat the line each time just to make it even easier so that you can just not have to think about it. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still and. Be still. Be. So maybe close your eyes, if that helps you to focus, or lower your gaze and soften your gaze. And become aware of your breathing, your in-breath, your out-breath. Rumi reminds us that the universe is inside of us. And we don't find that by thinking about it. We find that by entering into a prayer of quiet. Of sincere dialogue with the mystery I call God. Beautiful and amazing God, you are in all things. You are right here with us in COVID. You're right here with us on Zoom. You are in the illness. You are with those who die. You are with those whose jobs have been lost. You are with those who create vaccines and healthcare. You are radiant even in the darkest night. You are a peace that passes all understanding. The peace that catches us by surprise. in the midst of strife, in the middle of a hard illness, a peace and joy. We open to receive you, to be strengthened by you, to be transformed and changed. So much has changed so quickly. Grant us your peace. Grant us your wisdom. Grant us insight about how to navigate in the unknown. How to be love in the midst of the world just as it is. How to be part of the solution and not part of a problem. Help us to wake up spiritually. Be still and know that I am peace. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. We'll enter into 2 minutes of silence. And into this place of quiet and openness, we place our prayers silently. Loving God, receive our prayers from our heart to your heart. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. As I said, today I want to talk about COVID and how it has changed us, and that inner wisdom that is being woken up and shifted. And it's not just COVID, it's also climate collapse. I don't know how smoky it is where you all are right now, but the smoke from the west coast has been coming to Vermont and making our eyes itch and giving us eerie and beautiful sunsets. It's been a very deepening spiritual time for me, and because it's been over a year since I was last with you, I've been reflecting on some of the new things I've been learning and the music that I've been writing, because I have this emotional spiritual diary, which are my songs, and I have a new song called the Magnificat. It was actually a commission. The Magnificat is one of those unsung miracles in the middle of Christianity that most folk, unless they're nuns or monks, completely ignore. So you know the story of the angel Gabriel going to the young girl Mary and saying, "Hey, Holy One, God's got a job for you. Will you say yes?" She says yes. We all know that because we hear the Christmas story over and over. But she actually goes on to have this incredible vision about the world that is to come. And in traditional Christianity, it's all seen as a finger pointing towards Jesus, whereas I'm like, no, this young girl who says yes and births life into our world, I want to hear more from her, because she clearly has the Christ consciousness come into her body and shares it with the world and lives a whole life of this, including witnessing her son being murdered in front of her eyes. The sacred feminine, especially through a devotion in my life to Mother Mary, has become really key and central in COVID for me. And I wrote a song called Magnificat that I'd love to share with you. But I'm not just sharing it because it's a new song and I wrote it. I'm sharing it because there's a line in it: reach out to touch the world that is to come. And I really feel like that we are in a cocoon and a shifting, that there are things about us as humans that are shifting. And of course, there's people that are digging in their heels and buying meals to prepare themselves for the apocalypse. But what is the apocalypse? It's a revealing, a tearing back of the veil. It's a revealing of new insight. It's not the end of the world. It's a deeply misunderstood thing, apocalypse. It's a revelation of the new, or sometimes of the world as it is. My soul shall praise and magnify you, Lord. Yes, I will come. Yes, I have come. I hear your voice is calling out my name into my life. You shall be born. All generations praise to hold with me the Sacred Heart, my beating heart. My soul is placed into this fire of love. Yes, it becomes God's will be done. The proud cannot hear beyond their words, their thoughts enclosed, so still and old. The rich cannot receive what they don't own. This emptiness, the spaciousness. All generations praise to hold with me the Sacred Heart, my beating heart. My soul is placed into this fire of love. Yes, it becomes God's will be done. Spread out the feast, let those in hunger come. Your face be shown, your love made known. The humble hear your voice, with you they sing. Magnificat, Magnificat. All generations praise to hold with me the Sacred Heart, my beating heart. My soul is placed into this fire of love. Yes, it becomes God's will be done. Reach out to touch the world that is to come. Magnificat, 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 Magnificat. Magnificat meaning magnify, to amplify. So the story of this song is about an hour long, but I'll try and shorten it for you. I have an online community called Patreon. It's my biggest income source. It's a bunch of people that, well, they first started following me as a musician, but then I started posting my sermons and stuff. I'm actually recording my computer screen so I can share this with them. And for a long time, there was only 12 of them. And I was so grateful to these 12 people while I was working out how to be a minister online. This was all before COVID. And one of the followers was a teacher of mine called Polly, who lives in England. And Polly asked me to learn a Hail Mary, to learn Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tuae, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. So I started singing this piece of Gregorian chant in Latin all over the place because Polly had asked me to learn it. And then when 2020 rolled around, and I started singing my prayers, I started praying a lot. That was a main song, and it started a devotion to Mary. I recorded that song, and people sent me icons. I'll go and get the icon. So not only did I have a song, I had this icon that sits right there on my workbench where I write my sermons and record all my music. And what I want to talk about here is the process of the Sacred Heart. Can you see that she is touching her heart? Actually, I have this on my computer. One of the faces of the Sacred Feminine is Kali, Hindu god Kali, who is often depicted with many arms and severed heads and blood, and a very gory image of the sacred, and a reminder that the Divine One uses volcanoes and destruction, and that this idea of be nice because Jesus was nice and we'll all learn to love one each other is really got nothing to do with God. It is a nice thing to teach your children, but God is far more complicated. And in this world where we're in the midst of it right now, emotional tsunamis of climate change and this illness that will not go away, it's coming back for the autumn. There's the Delta Plus. Wow. How do we navigate in this time? How do we open to bring in change? Frederick Buechner says, "This is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Do not be afraid. Beautiful and terrible things will happen." And that is what is unfolding on the news, in our life, in our families. I am sure that my own family that's divided over conspiracy theories and vaccines and what to do is probably your family too. This is a time of great divisions, a time in which that whole thing of be nice and it will be okay is clearly not enough. This is a time for social justice. This is a time for prayer. This is a time for really finding that universe within, or that higher mind, that Buddha mind, that Christ consciousness, and leaning into it, getting our own neediness and our own struggles into perspective, because we are one life on this planet, all living with COVID right now. Prayer has become a really big thing for me in my life during COVID. It always has been, I've always been a contemplative, very drawn to prayer. But the prayer of quietude, the prayer in nature, I wondered whether some of you are resonating with this. Can you write yes in the chat or wave at me if you have really deepened your prayer life? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the world needed COVID. Don't get me wrong in saying that this was bound to happen and that we needed this to wake up. But COVID is here, right? And in the midst of this suffering, and in the midst of people without jobs, and in the midst of our social isolation, especially people who live alone or in a situation where it's not a good living situation. I know a number of teenagers who are stuck with parents, kids in the foster system too, and older people in retirement homes that they are desperate to get out of and trapped. Meanwhile, people with addictions are really struggling. There's been a huge increase in drug overdose deaths all over the country. And it's been a very hard time for for many, and injustice is so rife. Black Lives Matter is living out in the pandemic too. People of color, BIPOC people are more likely to die and get ill from this virus. They can't keep themselves safe from it. And throughout the world, richer countries are hoarding vaccines while other countries don't have them. It's a real time of suffering. So one of the teachers for me here is Julian of Norwich. Have you heard of her? What's key to know about her is that she survived the Black Plague in England. And that was around for 6 years, 1346 to 1352. Most of the people that she would have known would have died in that plague. And she has a lot of wisdom for us. And I'm fascinated, like the most famous quote from her is, "All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." It's one of my mantras that I sing. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. How can you say that and mean that in the middle of the Black Plague, the bubonic plague? Clearly, through that, she tapped into this presence of God, that universe of God within us that I mentioned, Rumi's universe within. Julian of Norwich called it oneing. Oneing. Something really interesting happened around the Black Plague, according to theologian Matthew Fox. I've been studying with him the last few months. He's been teaching me about Hildegard von Bingen, me and about 400 other people on Zoom. Here we are on Zoom. Might as well go to our great theologians while they're still alive. Now, one of the things that he said was that a theology shift happened in the Black Plague. And that was that people started fearing death and fearing the goodness in nature, the beauty and the goodness. In the beginning when God made the world and it was good, that word good can also be translated as beautiful. And our bodies, our living world started to be seen as sinful. And I understand this as original sin rather than original blessing. And Matthew Fox says that this is a real mistake, that this really happened because 80% of the population died and people started to really be fearful. And his example of this is the Hail Mary that I sang earlier. So normally Hail Mary is, "Hail Mary, full of grace, our Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death." He says that before the bubonic plague, the Hail Mary had none of this fear of death and that we are loathsome sinners. The pre-Black Plague Hail Mary went like this. "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, untroubled maiden. You are blessed among women. You brought forth peace to people and glory to the angels. Blessed too is the fruit of your womb, who by grace made it possible for us to be his heirs." There's nothing about death and pray for us at the hour of our death. Here's what Matthew Fox says. "The 14th century plague, the bubonic plague, plunged people into this fear of death, and religion became much smaller. It became anthropocentric. It was all about dealing with the fear of death and the fear of nature. Whereas earlier, there was this expansion of the human soul that we can see today surfacing in teachings about nature and the whole, and finding God there in nature and the whole. How interesting, huh? So when something as big as a plague that takes over everything descends, we are given the choice of whether to make sense of it through a lens of fear or through a lens of love. right? We talk about this at Unity all the time. I have said this to you all many times. But in the hindsight of a shared tribulation like a pandemic, it takes on a deeper meaning. The idea we are all one isn't just an idea. The welfare of people in India makes itself evident in my community within 3 months. We are a global village. And the poverty and the lack of healthcare and the injustice on the other side of the world will come and reach us in our communities in a very real way. We are waking up to our collective identity, and as I said earlier, learning to pray outside of time and place. And nobody knows what's going to happen. So how we orientate ourselves is really, really important, because we can choose fear. My brother is very prone to conspiracy understanding of our shared situation, and he believes that fascism is taking over and that all these rules are all motivated by people trying to steal power, and he sees that everywhere. Now, none of us know what is going to happen politically or with the virus, but one thing I do know in my bones is that the future hasn't happened yet. And in this time, we're learning that our thoughts, our actions, our prayers make a huge difference. This is huge. That how I live my life impacts my local community, impacts the spread of the virus, and the care of the people in my society who are struggling. My actions matter in the face of COVID. We don't normally see that mirrored. We just talk about it as an idea. And ultimately, I believe that this time the choice is ours of, are we going to contribute to trying to be part of the solution? Or are we going to choose to close down in fear and become, whether we like it or not, part of the problem? Regardless of what people around you are doing, look deep within, bring your full self, be awake to injustice in this, and pour out your prayers. And I share with us adaptation of a prayer of Teresa of Avila. Sacred presence, you are within each of us. We are your temple. We are your body. If every wall should crumble and every church decay, we are your habitation. Nearer are you than breathing, closer than our hands and feet. Ours are the eyes with which you in the mystery look out with compassion upon this world. And how we respond. Here's the bit that I think is so genius. It can look like many things, like that woman earlier, the Bengsons, who sang that song, Hope Comes. Here's another of their song. They wrote this amazing song called the Keep Going On song at the start of COVID. And it kind of went viral. That's how I heard about it. And then 2 dancers heard it, and they were in lockdown in New York City. So they put a dance to it. And I don't need to talk about it. I'm just going to share it with you.
This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song. This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song.
This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song.
I am Abigail, and this is Sean, and we're so glad that you've turned this on and welcomed us into your home, and you are welcome into our home. We're in Dayton, Ohio. We're in Sean's parents' house.
My parents' house.
Sean's parents' house. We were in Louisville when the shit hit, and we packed our 3-year-old into a car. We drove kind of far. We drove here, and we've been so lucky and blessed to be safely here. weather. And we thought we'd be here for like 10 days, tops.
What did we know?
What did we know?
What
What did we know? We
know?
thought we knew a lot. We thought we knew a lot. Woo!
Keep going on.
Keep going on song. This is a keep going, keep going, keep going on. Keep going on song. This is a keep going, keep going, keep going on. Keep going on song. And we've been mostly healthy. We've been okay. Are you okay? Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you all right? Are you okay? I hope your body is whole tonight. And if your heart is breaking, I hope it's breaking open. And if your breath is shaking, I hope it's shaking through. And I hope that you've watched a lot of really great television, like a lot of it. And I hope that you find a hand lotion that actually makes your skin feel better. And I hope that you have enough to eat. I hope you're getting enough sleep, and I hope you have enough good company or enough good memory to last you a long time. Keep going, keep going, keep going on. Keep going on song. We sing the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on. Keep going.
And I send that prayer to keep going on, to keep finding the good, the friendships, the connection, because it's not over. There was, I've forgotten his name, it was an interview that I was watching with Caroline Mice. He said, we won't get through this, we will only learn our way through this. We will not get through this, that we will only learn our way through it. Alan Watts said a long time ago, stop measuring your days by degree of productivity and start experiencing them by degree of presence. COVID is forcing us to do that. And Martin Shaw says, become a prayer maker. Why? Because what you face in your life is bigger than you can handle. It's bigger than you can handle. So go into a place with shadows and privacy and just start talking. There's some ancient friend that wants to hear from you. I love that quote because so much of it is that ancestral ancientness coming to meet us afresh in 2021. I'm going to close with a chant that I have been singing over and over throughout COVID. Every Wednesday I do a chants and prayers for healing, and this is the key piece of it. It's a lorica, so it's an ancient blessing, and this one is attributed to St. Patrick in Ireland. And he was under attack, and this was part of the way that he took the holy and wove it all around him. And I invite you to let this soak in, to do a body prayer if you're somebody who likes to move, and receive the blessing. Love with you, love before you, love behind you, love in you, love beneath you, love above you, love on your right, love on your left, love when you lie down, love when you arise, love when you take rest, love to shield you. Peace with you, peace before you, peace behind you, peace in you, peace beneath you, peace above you, peace on your right, peace on your left, peace when you lie down, peace when you arise, peace when you take rest, peace to shield you. And then this last time are St. Patrick's words. Christ with you, Christ before you, Christ behind you, Christ in you, Christ beneath you, Christ above you, Christ on your right, Christ on your left, Christ when you lie down, Christ when you arise, Christ when you take rest, Christ to shield you. Amen. Thank you.